name is Dr. Charlotte Grayson. I am an internal medicine physician with First Georgia Physicians Group. I've been involved in research for about 2 years. No matter who you are or what you see is what people are going to judge you on. And as a African American and as an African American female, I know that in a lot of situations I have to overcome some stereotypes. And so what I usually do is I go in the room, I act as myself, and usually patients very quickly will become comfortable with me and they kind of set those things aside and we're able to communicate with each other. But I did run into it, especially in certain parts of my training where it was very male dominated in certain specialties. There were places where I was really the only African American or the only female at certain parts of my training in undergraduate or even in medical school. And really, for me, it was just a matter of kind of drawing from within, knowing that I was good enough, knowing that I was actually smart enough, and actually in some situations, probably smarter. And I just buckled down and did what I had to do. And so far, it's worked really well for me. What I like to tell my patients is that we now have the opportunities and the options to be included in these studies on cutting edge treatments and on cutting edge information that does affect our health as much, if not more, than other populations. And so it is incumbent upon us to enroll in clinical trials, to consider clinical studies so that we have the same opportunities as everyone else for good health and good outcomes. Some of it has to do with the way our society is. You know, as women, we still hold a lot of different roles. We're not only professionals like I am, but we're also moms and we're also wives. And there are some societal pressures and some social pressures for us to, in regards to raising children or into running a household. And I think for a lot of women and for a lot of the way our practices and our schedules are structured, it is really hard to take on leadership roles on top of everything else that we already do. So I think a lot of what has to happen, a lot of what's been happening is certain thinking out of the box, a little flexibility. We're still able to do the kind of work that our male counterparts can do, and we can do it just as well. But we have to think a little bit outside of the box as to how a day is structured, as to how we actually do things so that we are able to do some of these other roles as well as be researchers and doctors. Well, I think the first thing is to make sure you get as much education as you are able to get. I think that the higher our educational status is, it gives us more opportunities. I think it's important for us to take advantage of networking opportunities and opportunities to be a mentor as well as a mentee so that we can continue to expand ourselves as women researchers, as women in leadership. I think, again, going back to balancing, learning what works for you, how to balance your life, to balance your job, to balance all of the pressures. And most importantly, I tell my patients this all the time, is always keep track of who you are. Find those things outside of what you do for work, in research, or whatever, that where you are you, whether that is going for a walk or taking up a hobby like knitting or being a reader or cooking. Leave some space and some time for yourself so that you don't get lost in everything else that we have to do.